Hi girls, I decided to do a video on how to make the granny square that we did in class a few weeks ago because some of you were still asking, and then this way you could practice it over the summer, and when we have crochet club next year you'll maybe be an expert at granny squares. Well, here we go. So remember, I'm not a fan of the magic circle, so I always just do chain. For the granny square, I would chain 3, 4, let's do 5. So chain 5, you connect your last stitch to the beginning of your chain and you close it up. You pull it all the way through. You're going to have the hole in the middle. Okay. Now you're going to chain 3. Then you're going to do 2 double crochets. So remember, double crochet, yarn over, put it through the hole, yarn over, you have 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Do another one, yarn over, put it through the hole, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. And this is your first cluster. The chain counts as your first double crochet. So now remember, chain 2, yarn over, put it in the hole, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. And this time you're going to do 3 of them. Yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. One more. Pull through 2, pull through 2. So we did our 3. 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to chain 2. 1, 2. Again, another cluster of 3, all in the same middle hole. 1, 2, 3. And then every time after we do a cluster of 3, we do chain 2. This is only in the first row that we're going to chain 2 after every 3. I'll show you in the next row. So 3 more. We're going to do 4 clusters. My yarn is getting stuck. Give me 1 second. And notice, like, I'm sewing in the tail along with it. I'm not letting it go. See how the tail is going into the work? So that way you don't have to do anything at the end with that tail except cut it. Okay. Chain 2, and now we've done our 1, 2, 3, 4 clusters, and you're going to go to the top of the chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and stick your needle in there and connect. So there you have your first row. Now, I like to move over to this corner to start the next row. So I go 1, and I do a slip stitch. I just go in, yarn over, and then pull all the way through. 1, 2, and then I go into the corner. 3. For this row, we're only going to be working in the corners. So again, to start, always chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to do 2 double crochets. 1. I need to unwrap my yarn a little better. I'm going off of a skein that I wrapped around the ball, so it's getting stuck. Okay, and 3. Then in between, chain 2 and 3 more. 1, and remember the chain, the first chain always counts as your first double crochet. 2, 3. Now you do nothing in between here and the other corner. There's no stitch, there's no chain, there's nothing. You just yarn over and start 3 more over here. 1, 2, 3, and then chain 2 because you're at a corner. You're only chaining 2 at the corners now. And on the next row, you'll see what I'm talking about, how you only chain 2 at the corners. We don't have middle sections yet because we haven't gotten to a row where there's any middle ones. So I did 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, all in the corner. And again, we're doing nothing in the middle. We're just going to start another double crochet in the next corner. Let me unravel my yarn a little. I have some yarn to work with. Okay, so I finished my first 3 in that corner. Now I'm going to chain 2. And now 3 more double crochets in that corner. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have 2 sets here, 2 sets here, 2 sets here. Now we just need the last corner. Again, nothing in between. Just start another double crochet in the next corner. 1, 2, 3. Finish my 3. So I'm going to chain 2 and do another 3. 1, 2. I need to give myself some more yarn again. I should have unraveled this yarn before I started. And 1 more, 3. Okay, so I did 3, chain 2, 3. Now we're at the end. We don't do anything in the middle. We just go to the first chain, 1, 2, 3, and put it at the top. And we slip stitch. You just pull it, put it through, yarn over, and then pull it through the last loop. And here you have row 1 and 2. Now, like I said, I like to go to the corner to start, so I always slip stitch. So put it in, pull it through. Put it in, yarn over, pull it through. 1 more, put it in, yarn over, pull it through. Now, this is the row where you're going to have middle sections. You are going to have some sections where you are going to do just 1 set of 3. Let me show you that. And you can change color after each row or after 2 rows, however you want. I will do 1 more row and then I'll do a row of change color. That way you can see how you change color. Okay, so let's start the next row. 1, 2, 3. Always starts with the chain of 3. Now we're going to do 2 more double crochets, a chain 2, and then 3 more in this, all in the same corner. So in the corners, it's always 6. Okay, I did 3 because I have the chain and 2 double crochets. 1, 2. Now 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3. There we have our corner. Now this time we do have a center section. So we are not going to chain or do anything in between, but we are going to put 3 double crochets in there. 1, 2, 3. So anytime you have a section that's not on the corner, you're just putting 3 double crochets in there. No chains after it, just go right into the next corner. So this is a corner, so we're going to do 6. 3, 3, chain 2. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. You chain the 2 in the corner so that it makes a sharp corner. It makes like a turn. Otherwise, it's going to come out rounded. And that's why you're doing the chain 2 in between 3 and 3. On the next row, I'll show you how to change color. And you can make this as big as you want. I one time made a king size blanket just doing this exact same stitch. It does start to twist a little because once it starts getting really big, granny squares tend to twist, but you have to keep stretching it as you go. If you're making smaller ones, it's usually not an issue. It's just when you make the bigger ones. Okay, so I made my corner, my cluster of 3 right here in this hole. Now I'm going to another corner, so I'm going to do 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. Let me do my 3 double crochets. Chain 2, 3 double crochets. Okay, one more. There you go. Now, let's do my napkin. I had taped it down, but it's moving around on me. Okay, we're in the center section, so we're just going to do 3 double crochets. Remember, no chain or anything in between them. 1, 2, 3, and then we're at a corner again. So 3, chain 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Let me unravel a little bit of yarn. Okay, and so I did my first 3, so now it's chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 double crochets. This is the most basic granny square. There are a lot more complicated ones where you put flowers in the middle or do all kinds of other designs, but this is a really simple granny square, and I love it because it's super fast and you can get through a project really fast. Okay, here's another center spot. So I'm going to chain 3 in there. I'm sorry, not chain 3. Double crochet 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're at the end again. So 1, 2, 3 in the first chain. I'm going to put it in the top. There we go. And close it. And there we go. We have row 1, row 2, row 3. So there's 3 rows here already. How fast we did 3 rows. Now I'm going to show you how to change color. Let's do a white, I guess. Let me see what I have here on the table. So I remember I'm going to slip stitch all the way to the corner. Still do the same thing. 1, 2, and put it in the corner. 3. Now leave it like that. And I'm gonna grab, let's do white. I have it right in front of me. Let me grab it, hold on. I was working on something else with this white and then changed it up. Changed my mind on it. So let me undo that real quick. Okay, so you're just gonna take your white and leave a small tail like this. And you're just gonna grab it like that and stick it in. This can be a little complicated. You could put a slip knot here if you want. I always just go like this. And then you go like that and you hold it on your hook. You pull your blue, you pull your white, pull them tight. And then you can cut your blue, but wait till you start the white. Because if you cut it too soon, then it's gonna start to unravel. So kind of hold on to the tail of the white and what the working blue yarn and just hold them like that so it's tight. And then start your chain of 3. 1, 2, 3. So now everything is secure because you made that chain of 3. So you can cut the blue. So we're done with the blue. Well, you can come back to it. You can always just go back and forth, doing 2 different colors, or you can do multiple colors. Now, I like to put a little knot in here with the tail of the white and what the ending tail, just to keep it from coming out. And then you just start your work again. So there's your chain 3. So we're going to do 2 more double crochets, and you can work the tails into your work so you don't have to sew them in later. 1, 2. You already did 1 chain here, so you got 2, and then you did your chain and 2 double crochets. So now we're going to do chain 2 because we're at a corner, and then 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And you can change color anytime you want. It's your design. If you want to change color every single row, you can do that. Or you can do all one color or change every 2 or 3 rows, whatever you want to do. Here we have our corner. Now we have a spot where we just do 3. 1, 2, and see how I'm holding those tails behind it, so I'm incorporating them or including them in the crochet so that, see how they're going inside? That way later you don't have to sew them in. They're just in the work, and then you just cut off whatever little extra is left. Okay, so now we have another single. So we're just doing 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now we've reached the other corner. So we're just going to, I think we should leave the tails at this point out. We can just cut this later, this little bit. And all the tails have been sewn in already, so you don't have to sew them in. You just need to cut them as close to your work as possible. 1, 2, 3, and it's a corner, so then chain 2. 1, 2, and then 3 more in that same corner. 1, 2, 3, and then a single hole, so just 3. 1, 2, 3, and then another single one. 1, 2, 3, and then we're back at a corner. So 6 with a 2 chain in the middle. 1, 2, 3, and then let me loosen some of this yarn, and then chain 2 because we're at a corner, and then 3 more doubles. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we have a hole in the middle, so just 3. 1, 2. Let me unravel some yarn. 3. Left my cup too close to keep bumping into it. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're going to go to the corner. So 3, chain 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, unravel some yarn and chain 2 because I did 3. We're at a corner, and then 1, 2, 3, and then we're almost done. We're in the middle hole, so just 3 chains. I mean, sorry, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and last one right here. Let me unravel my yarn. One, 2, 3. And now we just connect it to the beginning chain. 1, 2, 3, put it in the top, stick it into the top one, pull it through, and pull it through. At this point, you could be done. You can make them bigger, whatever you want. You cut this off and then you just sew it in. So let's do that real quick. Cut it off. Give yourself a little bit. You don't have to cut it off here. You can keep going. You can make it as long as you want. I don't know where my needle is. Here it is. This is a different needle than the one I've been using, but it's a good needle too. This came with something that I bought, and I do like this needle too. Stick it in. And remember, in the last video I did, I told you go one way and then another. You kind of stick it in wherever you can, where it fits good. Go about 3 stitches down, and then come back, but come back in a different hole. Don't put it in the same hole because it'll just come undone. You just put it in, and there you go. And now you can cut it off. Cut it as close to your work without cutting your work. And you kind of pull it so it hides. And these are the ones that were already part of the work. So you just cut them as close as you can. They're in the back. This is the back side of the granny square. And the same with this one, just cut it as close. And there you go. You got a finished granny square. You can make it bigger. You can continue and add colors or do whatever you like. Okay, so please practice this over the summer, and then when we come back to Crochet Club next year, hopefully you'll know how to do it, and you'll be experts at this. All right, see you guys at the next class. All right, take care. Bye.